Hi, folks. We're live. Bradley J. Question is, will we ever really return to pre-COVID normal? It just keeps coming back, wave after wave after wave. And I don't know. For a while, I was thinking we'll get back to normal, but for me, normal is traveling overseas without having to have a test prior, COVID test prior, and without quarantining when I get there, without worrying about getting back COVID-wise. Is that ever going to happen? What do you think? Or is it here to stay? The real question is, will this go away before the next one comes, before the next bird flu or SARS or whatever it is comes? On a live chat with Carlos Lacudero the other day, he talked about an MU variant that is more vaccine resistant. I don't know how you can say that. No, but I don't know. I guess you go through ups and downs, and I'm feeling like you're gonna have to make a new life out of the current conditions because the old conditions aren't coming back. And I'm attempting to do that. I'm really glad I traveled when I did. I traveled a lot of places. By the way, I finished up the Morocco videos on my Bradley J Travel YouTube page, and I'm moving on to another trip. What would you like to see? What videos would you like to see? Because since COVID, since I can't travel, I might as well relive it and share it with you by way of the video. So I'm going back and doing new videos. There's regular old Europe. I don't have a lot of footage of Paris because I'm just not a big fan. There's Italy, there's different areas of Italy, and there's a lot of Eastern Europe. There's Riga, Latvia. There's Estonia. I've done videos of. I'm thinking Greece. But is there anywhere that you would like to see? Bradford Curry. Hey man, the old human coronavirus is first identified in the mid-60s. People can obviously read this, but I have to read it, so I'll read it out loud. But have likely circulated in humans for centuries. These include the other versions. I'm in my senior year, so it'll be likely around for the rest of my life. Blizzard McFly. Wow, what a good name. How cool that your last name is McFly and that your parents had the foresight to call you Blizzard McFly. It doesn't get much better than that. Does it, Blizz? Mark says I have to go to Nashville. Why is that? You haven't been? I'm going to have to go ahead and say Nashville is overrated. Let's just chat. Nashville's overrated. Do you have any questions? Anybody have any questions about any places? I went to Nashville. Here's what killed Nashville for me. I'm walking down the main street, looking at the boots shops, and they were awful. Terrible boots, overpriced, cheap, fake, super commercial, phony baloney. And I know all of Nashville is not phony baloney. But what killed it for me was, those party bikes with like 6 people driving them, and there's a table on them, and you can drink while you're riding the bike. Kind of a spring breaky feeling thing. Well, I saw one of those in Nashville, and it was dead to me right then. Pow. Memphis, on the other hand, is the real deal. I feel like Memphis is gritty and wow. Right there on the banks of Mississippi. A real good trip is this. Irving trip. Fly to New Orleans. Partly because you can go there nonstop, easily. Take the train, the city of New Orleans line, to Memphis. 10-hour trip. Right up through Mississippi. Through the swamps of Louisiana, then Mississippi. And then you can stay one night or 2 nights and head back. So you could do a 3-nighter, right? You could do a night in New Orleans, and then a night in Memphis, then another night in New Orleans. Perfect. 3 nights. What else we got here? Perry, how you doing, Perry? Good to see you with us there, Bradford Curry, former owner of a Chevy Nova. What was that year of that Chevy Nova? Sort of a faded green Chevy Nova. It had to be a 70s, 79 Chevy Nova, something like that. What was I going to say? What else? Oh, so the new life for me, the travel is, and it's surprising how much I'm loving this, is Vermont. I did a video of a place called Bellows Falls, Vermont. It was not a fancy video. My videos to these towns, I have to shoot them in an hour. Basically, what I do is an intro and an outro, and then lots of B-roll. Then I get home and I'll do the voiceover. Or if I get lucky, like in Bellows Falls, Saul Bellows Falls, or some people call it Fellows Balls, it turns out. Dickerson calls it that. Of course he does. Fellows Balls, Vermont, had a good, like a weird, not weird, it was weird that he was right there. I just went into it. I called up, who did I call? I called up the place, the little lunch place, and said, do you know of any historians? They said, well, maybe over at the antique store, Wyndham Antiques. Call them. Actually, I just showed up. And they said, well, yeah, Elijah knows Elijah. They went and got this guy named Elijah, who was encyclopedic. He also had a hat that was made in that town 100 years ago. And a really interesting tale. It was a straw boater. You know what those straw boaters look like? A flat straw hat. They dance with them. It was made in Bellows Falls and sold in a store 100 years ago. And he bought it again as a vintage hat 100 years later. So the hat is 100 years old. How cool is that? 1921, 1920. World War I just over. Yeah, they're trying to figure out how to be 74 Nova with Bradford Curry. Good times in that baby. Was that an automatic? So the trips in Vermont are great. And tomorrow, doing Springfield. My initial foray into Springfield was it was not very attractive, but I didn't give it much of a chance. Partly the reason I didn't give it much of a chance was the first time I went there, I asked some guy for directions, and then I asked him, is this a good town? And he goes, no, this is a dead town because of the taxes. And it was right during COVID, so it was pretty dead. And I'm going to give it another shot. They do have a really renowned restaurant there called the Coffee Falls. They also have a big airport. It's a state airport, Hartwell Airport, I think it's called. Hartness Airport, Hart something. That's where you can take glider lessons, which I have done 3 times. It scares the heck out of me every time, which is good. It's good for your brain because here's how you fly a glider plane. I do have a video on this. It only weighs 600 pounds, so you and your instructor, I think, have to weigh less than a total of 300. You get towed by a small plane, you go up to 3,000 feet, you pull a knob, this rope releases, doink, and you're out there with nothing. And it's pretty easy to just riding. Of course, that's easy, but then when you take a lesson, you have to do it super hard. Because it kind of feels like you can't see any. You don't feel any plane around you because it just feels like you're up there in the air in a seat with no plane. Kind of. And there's just some very rudimentary controls. There's a stick, and there's the pedals. Pedals are for the rudder. The stick is for right and left, and up and down. And the idea is you find an updraft and you do a tight turn like a bird right around this updraft. But that tight turn makes it seem like you're gonna fall out of the plane, or the plane's gonna flip over. You just got to get used to it. The fact there's no engines doesn't really bother me. It's just you have to use, those of you who fly, you have to use the stick and the rudder in combination, because if you just turn the rudder, the plane yaws and goes sideways. You got to turn the rudder and the aileron at the same time. And it's not a 1-to-1 ratio on the pedal and the stick, so it's really hard to get used to it. And my muscles are tense. I'm like, I gotta learn to relax. I will. But and then all the time you're trying to turn right, you realize, oh, why am I going down so fast? It's like, oh, right. The stick makes me go down too. So you gotta do it all the way around. You're not supposed to grab it with your fist. You're supposed to grab it with thumb and 2 fingers, lightly. Anyway, so I'm going up there tomorrow. I don't think they have any instruction tomorrow, but I'll do a video. The Brattleboro Vermont video is surprisingly popular. Not Brattleboro. I mean Bellows Falls. That's on the J Talking page. All right, I gotta go now. It's on the J Talking travel page. I have to go now. I'm doing my walk because in this new world of COVID, so how do you live? What's living for you? A lot of your usual stuff you can't do. For me now, I've realized that walking is living. Walking is living. Just live your life, walk. So I'm in Boston there and I'm in the hills. I'm going to walk up Summit Avenue, Brookline, which is really hard. It's surprisingly steep and pretty long too. Walked that a couple times and it's pretty good. Risk of crash high? No, Robert House. Risk of crash not high. Wind is killing the audio? Oh, dude, thanks. Sorry. Then I'll go now. Appreciate that, Brad. See ya all.